But, let me ask you this. Where was this Andrew Cuomo during the primary? Because there was a lot of gloom and doom talk. There was warnings about what's dangerous and what's not working. And, New York is a failing place. And I got to think that probably contributed to the outcome of the primary.
I did not run a good campaign. I admit it. And it was very uncharacteristic for me because all my life, I'm too aggressive, too difficult, too hostile, he's so tough. And then I run a very non-aggressive campaign. Because in the campaign, all the geniuses said I was way ahead for the entire campaign. So the campaign played it safe. And I didn't...
You took some pretty hard shots at Zohran Mamdani in particular.
Well, really only in the debates, right?
Well, that's, I think we're up to 500,000 people who watched that debate.
Yeah, but besides the debates, there wasn't an aggressive campaign. Mm-hmm. And that was a mistake. And playing it safe was a mistake. And again, uncharacteristic. But yeah, it was more, here are the problems. Let's talk about the problems, affordability, public safety. Here's how I'm going to fix the problems. But there was no inspiration to it. There wasn't enough positivity to it. Mm-hmm. But it was just, the campaign itself was just not good. Not good in affirming, in aggressively communicating the affirmative, or frankly, in debunking the simplicity of his solutions. 3-word solutions are great on social media. Yeah, except in reality, they're all BS.
Well, but there's symbolic gestures, and I learned some of this from you, actually. I remember when you first came into office and you said, we're going to have an on-time budget, not just because we should, but because it becomes a symbol to people and to ourselves. You said this to the legislature, that we can get some things done. So something like 5 demonstration grocery stores. We know that that's not going to solve hunger in New York City, but it's a symbol.
Well, first of all, I said on-time budget because it was the Constitution, and you're right, it was symbolic of functional government. A mayor, you're proposing a solution. He doesn't say 1 grocery store in each borough is a symbol. Mm. He says that's the solution. Freeze the rent is the solution. Everybody walked into the voting booth, their rent was going to be frozen. Great.
Well, they're in for an education.
Yeah, that's right. But there was no education.
Right.
And my campaign was supposed to do the education, right? Mm-hmm. But so these 3-word slogans sound good, excellent on social media, but it's not reality, And a little bit, I was too wed in responsibility and reality. I would not say something that I couldn't get done, right? Mm-hmm. I would do State of the State address every year. I didn't have pie-in-the-sky ideas, Sometimes State of the Union, State of the State, you throw out these...
Let's go to Mars. Right?
Yeah, we're going to go to Mars. Yeah. We're going to I'm going to cut everybody's taxes 50%. Just throw it out there because it sounds good, and then it never happens. I was the inverse. I said, I don't want to do that because that actually builds cynicism about government, because then you promised and you failed. So I never said anything I couldn't do. And I was basically successful at that. If I said I was going to do marriage equality because I believed I was going to be able to get it done. So to now throw out these 3-word solutions, freeze the rent, build grocery stores, it's not an effective strategy in the campaign, but it just, I'm repulsed by it, It's just not true.
What if there's also, on top of that, or I guess running alongside of that, is a larger generational issue. You want young people, but you know how this game is played, right? 100,000 young people come in, they have ideas that are very different from what you or I might think. They haven't necessarily been following the plot for the last 20 or 30 or 40 years. and they're going to make choices, right? And you have agreed as a political leader to live or die by those choices, right? I mean, if the city wants to go in a direction that you have said eloquently and repeatedly, you've said some of it here today, that you think is unwise, that you think is unwarranted, that you think won't get us where we need to go, can you live with those results? I mean, this is a question about the issue of possibly dropping out if the polls look like it's not going your way in September.
To me, the main goal is I think the assemblyman would do damage to New York. Not just that I don't agree, I believe it would actually damage New York. And I've been having this battle with the socialists for years, Errol. This is not new. This is the Amazon project, right? I worked for a year to get Amazon to come to New York to open up a national headquarters, 25,000 jobs. The socialists oppose it and wind up killing it. It was going to be in Queens. It would have jump-started a whole industry. They're anti-corporate. They're anti-business. New York is about business. There is no future for New York if you are going to be anti-business. I'm a socialist. I'm against corporations. What are you talking about? How you, as mayor, you want to be attracting businesses. That brings the jobs, that brings the opportunity. You're going to be hostile? You're going to kill the Amazons of the world from coming here? New York's dead. The affordability answer is no answer. I'm going to dismantle the police. What do you mean you're going to dismantle the police? You already made the mistake defunding the police, which I had a major argument about under de Blasio. He wanted to defund the police. That was the whole political movement. That's what the socialists wanted to do. I added police at the MTA to compensate for him defunding the police. Now they've taken defund to dismantle the police and send out a social worker. When somebody's coming through the window at night and I dial 911, I don't want a social worker to show up and counsel the person who's trying to rob me. So I think he would be affirmatively damaging to New York. And when this started, if you remember, it was the socialists versus Eric and Andrew, the moderates. Right. Somehow I became a moderate somewhere along the way. I was always too liberal. Now I'm a moderate. But it was the socialists against the moderates. And I think the strongest candidate against the assemblyman should run, period. And I said to the Governor Patterson proposal, mid-September, you're about a month from the election, pick the strongest candidate, the other one defers. And I agreed to that first. And if Eric Adams is stronger as a candidate, God bless him. I'll step aside, and vice versa. So I have no problem with that, and I can totally live and support that.
Okay. We'll see you out on the campaign trail. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.